Hi, we're Roll With Us Adventures.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Rachel, and today we're introducing my dad, Andy.
Hello.
And also today we are going to be doing a top 10 favorite games of all time for 2024.
Let's go.
Alrighty, so my number 10 is a cute little betting and racing game. It's called The Hare and the Tortoise. And so you're playing all these different animals, trying to see who can get to the finish line first, and you're going to be playing cards to try to make sure that the animals that you bet on get to first place.
Yeah, I really like this one too. It's geared for kids, but it's really I enjoy it a lot. It's not very complex in its rules, and then you get money or you get your points based on who you bet on, not necessarily if your animal wins, although that's who you bet on first. So.
Yeah.
And I really like the different variations between what the animals can do in this game. I think it adds a little extra interest to it.
Yeah, I agree. And that's my number 10.
All right, for my number 10 is the first game we played on the channel, Forbidden Island. I like the challenge of this game and how, it's kind of a race against time with the island slowly flooding. It adds a bit of drama to every different playthrough.
I really like that, even though it wasn't from the actual game itself, but like I guess the German version, but I really like the different maps you can do so that you can make it more complicated, because once you play it a lot, it can sometimes be like clockwork, and so it makes it a little bit more interesting and spicy for it to be having the different type of maps.
Yeah, this is the one that actually got me back into board gaming about 10 years ago or so. I found it on the shelf somewhere and just really opened up a whole new world for me, basically. So I like it a lot. The maps, the additional maps really help too. It stops that repetitiveness, because it can be a little monotonous if you don't use the custom maps and stuff. So, yep, I like it a lot. Number 26 for me, actually. So,
Forbidden Island's my number 10.
And then my number 10 is Kenny G's Keeping It Saxy. It's a cooperative game. You're collecting cards to create sounds of groove to get Kenny through his day. Basically, he has all kinds of stuff like missing his socks, or he didn't have sexy dreams and all this kind of stuff. So it's goofy fun, and I like it a lot. So.
Yeah, I like being able to make the little noises for the music, because like you put the cards together and then you get to go like dibbity bop bop boop skilly.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I have to say about that game is it's hilarious to play. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
All right, and that's my number 10.
Alrighty, my number 9 is a trick-taking game. It's called Diamonds. It's been one of my favorite games since my dad found it. It is similar to euchre and spades, but like each suit has a power that you can like maybe steal a diamond from someone, or put the diamond in your vault, or get a diamond, or even move a diamond into your vault. So it's very cool how there's different powers that you can do, as well as normal trick-taking rules.
Yeah, I really like this game. I've enjoyed it a lot every time I've played it. I like euchre, so it was an easy game for me to pick up and learn.
Yeah, I found I'm really selective on my trick-taking games, but Diamonds is one that I'm really drawn to. I think it's on my top 100 at like 23, so it's still pretty high up. I've played it a lot over the years. She's holding my copy, which is a little bit well worn on the edges as I'm looking at it. But yeah, it's definitely one that I keep going back to over the years. So, yep.
And that's my number 9.
My number 9 is a game called Trekking Through History, which...
we don't own yet.
Yeah, we don't actually have a box for it, but when we last played it, I just absolutely loved it. For the theme alone, you're using cards basically to curate a time travel vacation, and that hits a lot of boxes for me. It's a great game.
Yeah, I really liked getting to honestly kind of learn a little bit with it.
Yeah.
And then also it was like cool because like you would take a card and be able to like go up on a track to kind of gain more powers, be able to get more cards. I really enjoyed that game and do hope to get it someday.
Well, I don't have much of an opinion of this. We just played it the one time.
Yeah.
Which they really liked it a lot. I liked it as well, but just not as much as they did. So I think they described it pretty well. So that's what I'm going to say about that.
That's my number 9, Trekking Through History.
All right. My number 9 is called The Mind. This is not the box it came in. I had to kind of get my own custom box because I sleeve the cards. But I really like the Mine. It's another cooperative game. As you might see, a running theme on my list of cooperative games. You play cards without communicating. You try to play cards in order, going up from 1 to 100, as depending on what cards you have in your hand. So I find it really easy to bring people in that aren't really familiar with board games that well, or they're used to, they have their preconceptions about what board games or card games might be, and then they kind of show them this, like, wow, this is really different. So that's what I like to do with it.
Yeah, and I really like that, like, each round you go, you can earn, like, another life. So if you mess up, you get to still be in the game. And there's what's the other power?
You get to raise your hand.
Oh, yeah, you get to raise your hand and throw out a card so that you don't possibly lose the life, therefore losing the game.
I have not played this game.
You haven't played this one yet?
No.
We've got to fix that.
Looking forward to it.
Well, that's the Mine, number 9 for me.
Alrighty, time for number 8. My number 8 is an old game. Like, I don't, like, what year is this? Like,
Early 90s.
Early 90s. It does have a lot of early 90 aspects to it. So it is called Compatibility. And I enjoy this game because you can play it with your significant other or like a really close friend, or honestly, if you want to have a little bit of challenge, play with someone you don't know as well. But basically what you're trying to do is you get a set of cards, and everyone has the exact same deck, and you are trying to choose from that deck what you think matches the main card. So if you have a card Love, you have to choose like 1 to 5 cards depending on where you are in your space. And then you get to see if you and your partner thought of the exact same cards.
Mm-hmm. This is one of those games where a lot of hilarity can ensue just from like people putting stuff down and it being either, you know, a miraculous match or an odd, like, why would you think of that sort of moment? So I really enjoy this game too.
Yeah, this is one I've had for a long time. I've played with various different couples over the years. It's kind of been bouncing around my top 100 a little bit, but playing more with Rachel and Korey and other people, it's kind of creeping its way back up a little bit. So, yeah, I like the interactions with the couples and things like that. I don't usually like, it's kind of got a roll and move kind of aspect to it. It's got a die roll anyway, which I don't normally like as much anymore, but this one makes it work pretty well. So I do enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, the die roll helps you choose what number to pick, right? For the word that gets chosen. But yeah, this is my number 8.
My number 8 is Sushi Go. This one, specifically, we got Sushi Go Party here. This was the first. This is card drafting, right? So this is the first card drafting game that I think I've played that I really enjoyed. That was a mechanic that for whatever reason was hard for me to get into at first, but I really like Sushi Go Party. I think the little sushis are adorable, so that's why it's my pick.
Yeah, and Sushi Go Party, the only real difference with that and like regular Sushi Go, if you got that, is Sushi Go Party gives you other options to choose for the game and also can make it more players.
Yeah, I definitely liked Sushi Go Party a lot more than Sushi Go itself. It's basically this, you can play the basic Sushi Go setup with it, but then there's all these other kind of setups too, and it's got stuff for beginners, it's got stuff for 2 players, it's got stuff for like a bunch of people, it's got cutthroat in it, like cards that are meaner than others, and things like that, so you can really switch up what game you're going to play with it. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and also you are right. The little sushis are very cute.
They are very cute.
Very true. All right, my number 8 is Star Wars Outer Rim. So this is my highest Star Wars game that I've got on the list.
Yeah.
It is one that I do play solo a lot against the AI, which is sometimes more difficult than others. I will advise, if you decide to do AI with it, that the ambitions make it really hard, which are interesting things you can do with multiplayer. Have the different than just getting points. You also have these goals to get as well. But it's hard to play against the AI. And I also recommend not playing against Han Solo, because he's really hard when he's in AI, because he's so fast. But I played this for a number of years. I had the expansion for it as well. So it's competitive. It's pick up and delivery. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's been a while since I played this one, but one thing I really like is it's an interesting board because like it's a arc almost, and you have to, if you want to get from this end to this end, you have to do that, right? Like you have to go around, or is there a way to get to
with the original game? You have to go back and forth, like she's saying. But then with the expansion, you can go from one point to the other point.
I have not played the expansion,
but it's a little tricky to do that sometimes.
But I remember enjoying it. It's just been a while since I played it.
Yep. I haven't played this game.
I'm
the game newbie. comparatively.
Yeah.
All right, that's my number 8, Outer Rim.
Yeah. Alrighty, my number 7 is Atlantis Rising. It's a cooperative worker placement and simultaneous play game. It is called Atlantis Rising. This one, you're basically like trying to get almost off the island before it floods as well, but it has a very different components and different actions and different things to do than Forbidden Island, but it has that similar vibe to it. But it's very interesting because you're trying to build like machines to try to help you, but then also to make it so that you can get off of Atlantis because it is getting flooded.
Yeah, I've only played this once, I think.
Yeah.
And from what I remember, we didn't win. But I really like, it's kind of like what all good worker placements do. Like, they surround you with a lot of options, and then it's up for you to really pick what's the best strategy is. And since it's cooperative, I think it's a bit more fun that way because you can collaborate as a group and really come out with your plan for how to get off of Atlantis, you know?
Yeah.
Well, Atlantis Rising is number 11 for me right now, so it just barely stayed in my top 10, although it's been in my top 10 numerous times. I do like it a lot, of course. I do like the different player powers you can get. They're called counselors. They give you different abilities and things like that. It also plays from 1 to 7 players. They don't generally, I don't think I care for it at 1 player as much as some other games, but the 2 and up, it seems to be fine. I've played up to 7, and it still works pretty well. There's a lot of interaction between the people since there is that simultaneous play aspect of placing your workers out. So you can't just like place yours and cut somebody else out. You got to figure out who needs what and how you're going to accomplish your goals of building these devices to help get the people out, which I guess is where the name kind of comes from because the Atlantis people are rising out of off the island, even though the island is sinking. Is kind of counterintuitive to the name, but this is the second edition. I never played the first edition, but this one's done really well. It has awesome artwork too.
Oh my gosh, the artwork's amazing.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to point out with Atlantis Rising is always go for the crystals early because they are probably one of the more difficult ones of the different factions. So just keep that in mind if you ever do play this one.
All right, my pick is another game we don't actually have. I'm a sucker for games we don't own.
Apparently.
It's called Obsession. It is a worker placement game set in 19th century Victorian England.
Yeah.
You are basically running the household of British aristocrats that have fallen out of societal favor, and you're using your butlers and your maids and your other servants to, try to build up your manor and throw ever more impressive and elaborate parties. And I just really enjoyed it. I really like this. I'm a big theme person when it comes to games, and I really love the theme of this game. And there's all sorts of just random like events and stuff happening throughout it that it definitely won't. It'll definitely keep you entertained.
I also really enjoyed Obsession. It took me a moment to get into it because there is a lot going on. So just if you are going to play it, just be kind of ready to know the rules and be ready for a little bit of complexity. But it's also worth it once you start understanding what's going on. I really enjoyed playing that game and like learning how to play it, and then being able to try to win the favor of my guests.
I really like the game as well. Just building the house was really cool to me.
Yes.
Where I was focusing on like the sports area where I think I had a badminton court and the croquet going and that kind of stuff. But there's all these different parts of your house that you're building. So yeah, I like it.
Which did you win the time we did play?
I did play the one time we played it.
Yeah. You're trying to basically win the favor of these people who just got their like heir.
Yeah,
and
party goers.
Yeah, and he won the love of the main people you're trying to win the love of. So
I got lucky a couple times.
Yeah,
but,
that's a good one.
All right, my next one is a deck builder, which you'll also see coming up on my list a few more times. This is called Clank. It's definitely very competitive deck builder.
Yeah.
You're trying to get into this dungeon and grab all this loot you can, and you have to grab an artifact or two, and then head out and just make sure you survive. And the most points is going to win. I've got a lot of different boards for this, which I you can play some of them solo because there's the app does work pretty well. I love the app, so I do get a lot of solo games of it. I also like playing with other people as well.
Yeah, this is also going to be in my top 10 somewhere, so be on the lookout for that. I love many different things about it. It is a deck building, which I do enjoy deck building. I also love there's a dragon that you're basically trying not to make too mad too quickly, because then she's going to start pulling out your little cubes, which if we pull out the cube and you get too many of them, then you're gone. But I really like the other boards. I feel like the main boards I played is like underwater, and I also like the golden silk and the ape one. I like the ape one too. And we just tried the catacombs one, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
Like change to it where you're actually building the dungeon instead of the dungeon just being pure, like right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I've played this I think 3 times now, and I've found myself enjoying it more and more each time I've played it. It can be kind of unforgiving at moments, like when you've got a lot of clank out there. It can be scary, you know. And I really enjoyed the Catacombs one, just because of the whole exploration that it added to it. I really enjoyed that. So
yeah, that's a good one.
I do have Clank Catacombs separate on my list somewhere, so if you see my top 100, we can search for that a little bit further down.
Yeah, it is. It definitely does give a different dynamic. I could see that.
And that's Clank.
Alrighty, so my number 6. You don't have to wait very long to see Clank on mine, because here it is.
Big surprise.
So basically what we all said on your number 7 is what we have to say for number 6, unless there's any other commentary, but I love this game.
My pick is Funkoverse, which I have here represented by the Peter Pan ones, but I love all of it. We've got many Funkos back there. I think this is a really good, like, entry-level strategy game. Like, there's a lot of, planning that you've got to do with your individual characters, like how you're going to use them, but it's not so complex that it's off-putting. And I really just love the variants of, like, all the different IPs that are in the game, that I can have Peter Pan and Doc Brown,
And a Golden Girl.
Yeah, and a Golden Girl, like, all on the same team. I think that's just great. So that's why I picked Funkoverse.
Yeah, I can see where it could be entry level, but also I could see where it could be a little intimidating. I think, like, you can play just like one person against one person, or you can do like 2 against 1 or whatever. It doesn't really matter because it can be teams. I would suggest if you do have a new person to this game, like, make sure that they're not by themselves unless they're like really into gaming and they can connect well, because some cards are definitely a little more complicated than others. But a lot of it is just kind of memory and like remembering what your cards do so you don't miss a step. Like if Doc Brown can help in Golden Girl, you don't want to miss that because you want his help. So
yeah, this variability is the key to the Funkoverse strategy game. Not only the characters that we have kind of talked about already, but also the boards. Even the little sets come with all the sets come with a double-sided board. So I mean, I have boards that I haven't even gotten out of shrink wrap yet, just because we played a lot, but we just haven't gotten to the board yet. So we do enjoy all the different crazy mix-up you can do with it.
Yeah. Also, one thing, the Golden Girls are very powerful. So if one team's gonna have a Golden Girl, the other team probably should have a Golden Girl because they are very powerful women.
Yeah.
All right. My number 6 is G.I. Joe deck building game. This is a cooperative game again. It's a deck building game again. So I do love cooperative. I do love deck building. So this has both of those. I was really, of course, drawn to the IP of this. I grew up with G.I. Joe. More so the comic than the cartoon. I've been watching the cartoon again and confirming my younger self that, yes, it's pretty ridiculous and pretty crazy out there. So I do like the comics a little bit more. Be forewarned, playing this, reading through the rules are not the best written. But once you can kind of get past that, and I think there's a few assumptions that I've made that I just kind of roll with each time. So it's cooperative, so you're all playing together anyway, so no one's really getting, an advantage over the other people by a misread of the rules. So that's G.I. Joe deck building game for me.
I have yet to play it.
Same.
All right.
But it has a really cool one of those like ships that planes can go on, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
a little aircraft carrier.
Yeah, there's a campaign expansion which has the flag, which is the aircraft carrier. So you kind of build on that as you're going through the campaign. So yeah, the campaign is good too. I like that.
Nice. We'll have to check it out sometime with you.
Yeah, I'll be up for it.
Alrighty, time for our number 5s. My number 5 is a Western game, which I do love Western themed games. For some reason, I've really clicked with those, and I have quite a few. Dad has a few that I love too. But this one, my number 5, is Dice Town, where there are many different ways to get points. And basically, before the round, you're rolling dice to try and get whatever type of dice you want. And so it's like Jack, Queen, 9s, 10s, aces, and you're trying, and jacks, I think I said them all, but basically whoever has like the most kings, they get to do this action. Whoever has the most queens, they get to do this one. And basically you're just trying to get the most points, and there's different ways to get those points.
Yeah, I really liked this when we played it. I liked how in each spot in town there was basically like an action for the person that was in first and the person that was in second. And I liked the little cows, you know. There's a building a herd aspect to this game with some nice little cows.
Which is an expansion.
Yeah.
I really like the fact that everybody gets something. So whoever has the most 9s will get this, 10s gets that. Well, even with the max player count, which I think we have is 6.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to get something with it. So it's kind of nice, and you're just kind of building your points the best way you can. Usually you're wanting to focus in an area, but you know, trying to dabble in different areas as well to just get your points. So.
Yeah, that's Dice Town.
All right, it's getting to be about that time of year. That's why my pick is Santa's Workshop. Santa's Workshop's a worker placement game. You're playing as you're at the North Pole. You're using Santa's elves to build toys for children. The theme alone, I think, makes this game fantastic, but it's also, you know, it's got a lot of very interesting ways you can use your little meeple workers. You know, you can use them to collect coal, you can use them to, you know, try to collect reindeer, you can use them to get the resources and materials you need to build your toys. There's a lot you can do with this game, and I think it's a lot of fun. Santa's Workshop.
Yeah, I did feel like the one time we played this, I don't think I went super into like with the reindeer, but honestly, I do really like that that's an option, which you can also, like, you can get points for having the most different type of reindeer, and you can also get points, I believe there's a set collection point with the reindeer as well, which is really cool. And so I think it's like interesting how there's multiple different ways for the workers to not only get you points, but also to get you the favor of Santa, and also get you the resources you need to make the toys to get the favor of Santa.
And decorating the tree. And
oh my gosh, I forgot about decorating the tree.
There's a lot in this game.
A lot of different ways to get points. And even it's interesting, your workers are all different shaped meeples as well.
Yes, which matters.
Which matters, because you can train this worker to be better at this certain thing, so you make sure you send that person.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Send that worker to do that certain thing. So
yeah, that's a cool one.
All right, my number 5 is a cooperative game again. It is a crossroads game, which is something from Plaid Hat, and this is called Forgotten Waters. It's pretty much a role-playing game. You're kind of all working together to do. You're not really sure what most of the time. It's just you're kind of sailing around the ocean, and you got your captain that's got their goal, and it may be some crazy thing that they're trying to do or whatever. But there's a few different stories you can do. It's all app-driven for the most part. Although there is an option to get the book, and you can read through the text entries as well.
That'd be interesting.
But the app is really good because the voiceovers are really good. They're really funny. They got good voice actors. Let's just say. I really like all the different ways you can go out and all the different stories. And I definitely recommend getting the download content for this as well, which is a little extra cost. But so I think most of our favorite adventure is the download content one. So that's.
One thing that's really cool that I like is basically you guys get to, we get to choose what we want to do on the page, and so like sometimes you get to go to the captain's quarters and he'll send you on a little mission, or you're going to go save this animal from this place. Like it's like you're going out places where a lot of the role playing comes from, where it's like you're going to a place to try to like help your team.
Yeah, so this will show up for me on my list later, so I'm going to save some of my comments, but I'll just say I love this game.
All right. Forgotten Waters.
Alrighty, time for number 4. So my number 4 is you are running a secret 1920s speakeasy. It is called the Opulent. So there's 4 different factions. You can play, can you play single player? Yeah, you can play single player, up to 4 players, 1 for each. Dad and I play this a lot, the 2 of us. We've done a whole campaign with it, but basically what you're doing is you're trying to run this speakeasy, keep it afloat, and keep it secret from the authorities. And there's 4 different factions that have 4 different kind of like mini games. My favorites are the bar and the band, but the bar is like my number 1. Whenever we play this, I usually want to be able to play the bartender.
Yeah, I think I've only played this once, and I think when I played, I was like the bouncer or the guy at the door.
Yeah.
And I remember that was very interesting because you got to see all these different people coming into this club, and there's some interesting characters in there. So yeah.
Yeah.
This is actually like the first Kickstarter I backed, I think. So I really love the theme of it. It's really fun. I love the cooperative nature, the different stations or factions, as Rachel has called them. And just they're all their own different little mini games, pretty much. And so you can have, as you're learning it, maybe you do the doorman because it's just rolling dice and trying to get people in, or maybe you want to have something a little bit more interesting, or not interesting, but more complicated.
Yeah.
With the bar or the dance floor. The dance floor, you're kind of trying to play cards to match the beat and get enough to kind of dance them off the floor and move to the next station, kind of thing. So, yeah, this has been in and out of my top 10 since I've had it. So it's just not there right now. So.
Yeah. And I actually own my own copy of this, so my dad and I both have our own copies, so that's how much I love this game. Yeah. That's my number 4.
My number 4 is Ticket to Ride.
Sure, none of you have heard of this one.
Yeah, yeah, very rare game. I'm a big train person. I love trains. And I just adore this game. I like, being able to plan your routes, the strategy of it, the competitiveness of it, you put that one train where I wanted to put one train and it's ruined my entire plan. So, yeah, Ticket to Ride.
Yeah, I enjoy this game too. And I like the wild card because, I mean, who doesn't love the locomotive wild card?
Yeah.
It gives you a wild, but also I just like the design of it because it's really pretty. And then I like being able to place the different train cars because it has really nice components. And I also like trying to get the longest route, even if I don't usually ever get it, but I enjoy the trying of getting it.
Well, I may be in the minority here. I definitely am at this table. I don't usually like Ticket to Ride so much as other people. The take that part that Korey was saying that he likes, I actually don't like as much. So, just different flavor for different people. So I'm glad you guys like it so much.
Yeah.
All right, and my number 4 is another cooperative game. It's a trick-taking game. The Crew, which is when the Crew first came out, which was a different. This is Mission Deep Sea, which I think is a lot better than the first iteration.
Yeah.
Which was a science fiction one, Planet 9, something or other. But just working together with trick taking is just a weird concept when it first came out. I was like, what? How do you work together with it? Well, you're trying to complete these missions. Like this person has to take these tricks, or that person has to take those tricks, and it's really neat. The games tend to go pretty fast. So usually when I play it, I'll play 5 or 6 in a row at a time, just trying to see how far we can get along in the missions. So, yeah, I really like the Crew.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think a lot of people tend to agree that the Mission Deep Sea is better than the first one. But I do really enjoy this one. I love trick-taking games, and I also love cooperative games, so it's nice that it kind of meshes two things that usually wouldn't be thought of being meshed together. And I also like, there's like this token that it's kind of like a communicating token to let like people know if it's your only of one kind of card, or your highest card, or your lowest card, so it's really cool. I like that aspect.
Yeah, and I really need to play this game more. I think this is one of the first games I ever played with you guys, but it was so long ago that I don't really remember much of it, being totally honest. So I look forward to playing more of it in the future.
Yeah.
That's my number 4.
Alrighty, on to our top 3. So my number 3 is a cooperative game, and I actually played this one at a con. Tried to win it at the con, did not win it, but then the next con we went to, we ended up winning it. It is called Meeple Party. Basically what you're trying to do is you're at this party and you're trying to get as many photos as you can as a group. before the party is over. And I love this game because A, I like pictures, B, I like the movement of the different actions because there's like 5 different personalities. The 5 different personalities can do 5 different things. And it's interesting because even though you might have the wall, like you might be the wallflower, you're not the wallflower at the same time because you're all moving all of the meeples together. And you're not really only moving the wallflower, even if you are. It's just kind of like if you get a stress, then you would get the stress if the wallflower gets stressed out. But yeah, I love this game.
Yeah, I like this game a lot. It's pretty funny, you know. There's a lot of like fun flavor text, if I'm remembering correctly, and just kind of the strategy you got to go through with how you move the meeples about the board and what's the best way to, you know, get that exact grouping you need for that photo. You know, it's a little bit more to think about than you would think just looking at the box.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, the variability comes into play with this one too. That I mean, you're drawing meeples out of the bag, which could be any of the 5 colors, or even the surprise meeple, which is a white one that'll come out and do different things. But also the way you lay out the board, you can set it up as complicated or as simple as you want. You know, just as long as you have your basic rooms, and you can just add other rooms or have this long one this way, or maybe a boxy thing, or just kind of going every which direction if you really want to. So. I like the puzzle aspect of it as well.
Plus, there's like 2 extra games that are not the base game, which is really cool. There's like one that's like the hot tub, and where you're trying to get everyone in the hot tub. Yeah. That one we have done like once. It was interesting trying to make that happen, but yeah, I do love this game. I'm trying to think of some of the pictures you try to take, like, oh no, someone stinked up the bathroom. Like, make sure there's no one in the bathroom. Yeah. Or like, cake is happening, or cake cutting, so everyone needs to be in the dining room. Or like, these people need to be in the dining room. It's really cool. Yeah. It's a cool aspect. That's my number 3.
My pick is Ahoy. I'm a big sucker for nautical themed things in general.
He likes a lot of themes.
Yeah, I do. And this game is really fun because it's basically a naval strategy game. And you've got 4 factions. You've got the Bluefin Squadron, the Mollusk Union, and you've got 2 different smuggler factions. And you're just basically fighting each other across the board. And I really like how, as you play this game, you're building the map that you play on, and you're placing where all the little islands are, and so it's different every time. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, we actually won this game at a raffle at Origins this past year. Shout out to the Pride Gamers of Columbus. But yeah, we really enjoyed it. We actually played at that con. We played it a couple other times. I've played a smuggler, which I really enjoyed the smuggler. I haven't played the mollusks yet, but I have played the bluefins, which I also enjoyed that one. Although we probably need to have me replay that one again because I was playing it wrong, so I definitely had a huge advantage because I was playing it wrong. So maybe I need to play it where it's correct. But the one time I did the smugglers, I really enjoyed the smuggler aspect. I thought it was really fun. And if you've ever played Root, it's like a simplified Root. Yeah. So yeah.
That's actually one part that I like about it. That it's a simplified Root. The asymmetric is, I'm not always drawn to it as much, but this one keeps it simple or simple-ish, and more straightforward, and it's not that hard to pick up. So I've enjoyed it, and rolling the dice and being able to, okay, I've got a 5 that lets me do this, or I've got a 3 that lets me do this. So you're doing your dice placement on your board to try to figure out. And they all have that aspect to them, but their other goals are very different.
Yeah, I love the dice placement of it. I do enjoy a good dice placement game.
Yep. So that's Ahoy.
All right. My number 3 is another cooperative game. It's for groups, and it's called Just One. It'll do up to 7 players. It's a word game where one person has like a secret word that they don't know, and everyone else is trying to get them to guess that word by writing a 1-word clue on their board. And then the catch is, if anybody's clues match, they get thrown out. So I've played through the deck. I think it's just that big of a deck, and there's like 5 words on the deck. I've been through the deck 2 or 3 times as well. So I've gone ahead and print off. Fan-made one's expansion for it, so starting to go through that a little bit too, and just having a lot of fun with it. It's really easy to teach new people too, which I really like about it.
I also love this game. It's probably one of my favorite party games as well. I really like the aspect of if you match, the clue's gone, which that can be really scary for the person with the secret clue, because then you're like, oh, well, you get one clue to guess this word. And so it's definitely, you don't want to go too obvious, but like you also don't want to not do the obvious one just in case everyone else thought there's a little strategy to it, but sometimes you just got to have fun and write just one word.
Yeah, this game's great. Like they said, it's a great party game. It's super accessible.
Yeah.
Anybody can play this game. And, you know, it's great for a family gathering. It's great for after you've been playing a more intense game all day and you want something to wind down with. This is the perfect game for that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's true.
Number 3, just one.
Alrighty, so Korey and I actually have the same number 2. We don't own this game, but we hope to own it someday. And it is Downforce. It is a racing and betting game. You kind of bet at the beginning, and then you bet in the middle here and there. So it's not heavy betting, but there definitely is betting. And then I love racing games. I love that you could own like the red car, but if you're noticing the red car isn't winning, you're not going to want to bet on it. And so like you could still, in theory, maybe win even if you have the losing car. So that's very interesting. But yeah, I love racing, and I love the different powers you can have. I used to always choose the determined one, where like basically you can do something special with your car, and so, or with any of your cars that you own. I think that's really cool that everyone has different powers.
Yeah, this game, I like how there's basically kind of 2 different games going on. There's the race itself, but then the betting is kind of its own thing. And I like that aspect of it. I also like the tracks, you know, the different tracks that they have for this game can really change the dynamic of a race. Yeah. So I think it's a great, fun racing game.
My favorite track, by the way, is probably the ramps or the savannah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the beginning of it starts with just buying your car. And it's like the first thing. It's like an auction game almost.
Auction. I forgot about that.
To start off with. So I tend to not do real well in the auction part, but I usually do well overall. So I take that for what it's worth. You buy your car, and like Rachel said, if you're not doing well, you don't have the right cars to play it, or no one else is moving your car, then you can keep betting on someone else's. You can still win the game by not owning the winning car. That's really neat. Yeah.
And that's our number 2.
Downforce.
Downforce.
My number 2 is a big Western game that I backed on Kickstarter the first time, went all in with it, and have kind of gone all in every other time it's come on Kickstarter. So we've got
Can we get it in frame?
the big box of Western Legends. Ooh. So this is a sandbox game. There's lots of different personalities you can play, lots of different characters, lots of different ways to get your points, because it's basically a point-driven game again. Whoever has the most points is going to win. You can be wanted, you can be a marshal going after the wanted characters, you can be just neutral, maybe I just want to go mine for gold all day. You can do that and do pretty well unless someone's robbing you. So you can go rob the bank, rob a train, you can frontier, you can go, make your homesteads out on the boonies or whatever. All kinds of different aspects of it. I just love being able to really get into it. Just the characters draw me in, the maps draw me in. I love it. I don't know. I guess I love just about everything about this game. So that's Western Legends for me.
Yeah. Also, you can become a gambler, go on the gambling track, which I always enjoyed the gambling. And you can also go to like a casino. And also, one thing that's really cool is they're actually historical legends within history of Western Legends.
Yeah, I really like this game too. I don't have as much experience with it as them, so I'm still definitely learning this game. But it's great. I mean, there's so much to it. It's a lot. But it's kind of almost like a Western simulation with how much is going on. Like you really can just do whatever you want with this game, which is great.
Yeah, it's a good one. I love this game.
Yep, me too. Number 2, Western Legends.
Alrighty, so my number 1 is Western Legends. Also, I just like to point out, it looks like I'm this person's head.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Western Legends is my number 1. I love this game. There's, like they said, it's a sandbox game. There's so many things you can do with this game. Like, you can rob the train, which there was one, there's different scenarios you can do, and there was one scenario where I was just robbing the train, like, the whole time. I like that you can smuggle cows or deliver the cows correctly if you're a marshal. Wanted is interesting aspect if you're wanted. Being a marshal's interesting. Almost everything you can do is interesting, which, like Korey said, there's a lot you can do. And I also love that once you hit a certain point, like your character gets a special power, which then helps you. You can also buy different weapons and mounts and different things to help your character do even better to get those points for you. So yeah, Western Legends is my number one.
All right, my number one we've seen before. It's Forgotten Waters. So I love this game, and probably the main reason why is because, you know, my entry to gaming wasn't so much with board gaming, it was with tabletop RPGs. You know, I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons person. I've been playing it for over 10 years, and this really fills the RPG niche for me. You know, it's not a traditional tabletop RPG where you generate the story, but there's so much story in this that it feels like one. So if you are someone who likes TTRPGs like D&D or, you know, something like that, and you're wanting to get into board gaming, this is probably a good option for you.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing I also like about Forgotten Waters that I don't believe we mentioned last time was there's these constellation points which you're trying to get, which basically is every time you level up on your character, you're getting this constellation point, which can help you have a better ending.
All right, so my number one is another cooperative game. It's also a deck builder. It's also a heavy IP, which I tend to draw towards as well. So this is just a representation, but this is Marvel Legendary. This is actually the Dark City box. But Legendary is basically, you're playing the Marvel superheroes. You're going through trying to stop a mastermind from completing his scheme.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your little deck of shield people you start off with, and you can kind of build from that and try to just build your deck as much as you can to start hitting that mastermind and just drill them. The variability is why I really love this game so much. There's so many cards for it now, and so many different schemes, and that's really where the variability hits in the most. Is because you're not just trying to defeat the mastermind; he's trying to do something that you're trying to stop that scheme from happening. There's all kinds of different schemes and things that they're trying to do, and different ways to thwart it, and all this kind of stuff. So, I also like to mix this with Big Trouble in Little China, Legendary Big Trouble in Little China. And then there's also a villains variant of this, which they kind of flip the script a little bit, where the villains are trying to stop this commander from doing a good thing. So you're trying to be evil and trying to win that one as well. But all those sets mix and match pretty darn well, and that's why I love Legendary so much.
Yeah, and Legendary for me has definitely gone up in the years. Like, I really enjoyed it, and then I kind of took like a breather from it. I do better with this game when there's like less people, so I like really liked it when it was the three of us playing. Granted, I like that in general, but this game is really cool because, like you said, there is like so many different IPs that you can choose, which is really fun to get to pick like our favorite superheroes. And I enjoy getting to play that. And also, I do love a good deck building game, which this one is very quality deck building, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Marvel fan, this game is great for you because it's got everybody you likes in there and probably everybody else you don't like too. I mean, they're all there. So I really like it a lot, and I'm looking forward to playing it more.
Yeah. Alrighty. Alright, thank you all for joining us for our top 10 games of all time for 2024. We hope you enjoyed this content, and we would love to see your top 10s in the comments below. And let us know if any of them were the same as ours, or if you're interested in playing one of ours that you've never heard of before.
Yeah, also make sure to like and subscribe, ring the bell too if you want to see notifications from us.
And thank you again to my dad for being a special guest for our top 10 video today.
Thank you all for having me.
Thanks.